what you need to do is go to YouTube, put ABN Radio UK in the search engine, and you can see me in my colours. Mike is not wearing his Tottenham shirt, just as well. I think he might have worn that today, actually.
No, I wore it last week for last week's show because I was going straight to Wembley from here, and look at where that got me. So I thought, no, I'm going to give it a miss, and hopefully there's a 15-minute gap between the first half and then the second half, so I can get from here to home. Plenty of time to watch the second half.
Absolutely right. So we've got so much. I'm going to be talking very, very quickly. We've got so much to talk about in the next hour and 50 minutes or so. Blink, but the weather's been absolutely fantastic. Cricket must be taking place now, Mike, and I'm not just talking about the IPL.
County Championship.
The big news of the day, however, and it will probably be the big news for the next 3 or 4 weeks, I would imagine, is Arsene Wenger, the Arsenal manager, stepping aside. Now, me and Mike have just had a little chat. For me, Arsene has jogged on before he was pushed.
I agree.
Off the edge of that cliff. There's a term that they want to use all the time with him called dignity.
Yeah.
A man that's been at the football club 22 years.
Long time. 1996.
Yeah, absolutely. And I tell you what, my voice career, Mike, is 18 years old.
Is it really?
So Arsene's been around for me forever. So I'm going to write a tribute piece to him from the heart.
I think that's a great idea.
Fantastic. He's been fantastic to so many players. He's been fantastic as well, Mike, for a lot of African players.
He has. Yeah, definitely.
I saw Kanu tweet something the other day and give his thanks. I saw Alex Iwobi doing the same thing. And Alex... And Arsene Wenger always says he's not bothered about people's passports, but there's no doubt that his invincible teams and the teams that played football in a certain way, yes, they had Bergkamp and Overmars in there, but they had so many black players in there that were so influential. Yeah,
I couldn't agree more. And when you look at a manager that he's managed Arsenal for 1,228 games and he's only lost 245. When you look at that, that is some record. He's won 704 games out of 1,228. If you actually take that into perspective, he's won over 700 games. The man is... Look, I'm a Spurs fan. The man's a legend. He's a great manager.
I got in last night because when I left the house yesterday, the news broke, so I wasn't able to catch up with Sky Sports, etc., etc. I came back, and for 4 hours I was watching this thing. And the stats, and I know you would always produce those stats, of course, because you're a bit of a stato. 57% win rate.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, 57%.
You can't argue with that.
You can't argue with that. But that said, let's look at the other side of the coin, Mike. The last 10 years, yes, there's been 3 FA Cups in there in recent times, have been a bit shoddy. And I think you sort of top and tail that with the scenario losing to Newcastle, getting beaten by Brighton, taking the lead against Swansea, taking the lead against Bournemouth, and getting beaten.
Yeah, and I think the important thing for me is those empty seats. We joked about it, and we've all tweeted about it, etc., about the empty seats. I think that tells the board, hang on, we're losing the fans here. We lose the fans, we lose the money, we can't buy the players. It's all connected. Now, the only thing for me is I want him to be given a nice send-off, which it seems he is in social media. Yeah. Even all his critics are coming out saying he's fantastic. But I think it's really important we remember not what he's done for Arsenal, but what he's done for the game of football in this country.
Picture. And we'll talk about Arsene Wenger during this hour and during the whole 2 hours, I'm sure we'll dip in and out of the Arsenal scenario. He has a home game tomorrow, which I think will be pretty special.
Yeah.
Our own Crystal Davis is in the house there.
I'm looking forward to that.
West Ham. I think the Emirates, which is not normally the case, will be rocking.
I think it's going to be packed.
I think it's going to be packed. Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, absolutely right. But let's just dip into the Premier League, Mike. Well done, West Brom, for last week, winning at Manchester United.
I sat here with Anne-Marie Batson last week, and she said to me, she asked me the question, do you think West Brom have got a chance? And I laughed at her. So, you know,
that's what we love.
That's football. Yeah,
definitely. If we could predict it and get it right all the time, there'd be no point having us.
Yeah, definitely.
Some people say that anyway.
They do, yeah, you're right. Yeah.
But anyway, ABN Radio, if you want to listen to ABN Radio, all the W's, abnradiouk.com. There's a TuneIn app as well. You can download that to your phone or your tablet, and of course you can listen online. As I said, listen, this is one of the fastest growing stations bar none, and the sport will always be here on a Saturday, and as I understand it, we're in negotiation and plotting and planning our World Cup coverage as well. 5 African nations, obviously England there as well. It is going to be truly, truly exciting. Mike, we said well done to West Brom, but well done West Brom today as well.
Yeah.
Well down to the Champions League semi-finalists, Liverpool.
That's right.
Sat out on the score sheet.
Who played all 3 of their big guns, which I didn't expect to happen. They all came off eventually, obviously. But, you know, they were 2-0 up. But that to me shows, and I said said this to you off air. Liverpool's defence is shaky.
Yeah.
Yes, well done to West Brom, but you can buy Van Dijk all you like. The other three people around him are not Premier League quality.
Liverpool have obviously got bigger fish to fry, but we've got to give a big shout out to Darren Moore.
Unbeaten. His 2 results: Manchester United at Old Trafford, 3 points.
Scoring goals as well.
Yeah, and now they're still not relegated. Everybody was expecting to walk away today going, yep, they're relegated. They're still hanging on in there. Look, let's be honest, we don't think Swansea will get points against Man City tomorrow. So, you know, let's see what happens.
Let's see what happens. Well done. And what's the score in the other Premier League game, Mike?
Rodney, you can have a nap during this one. Okay, it's Watford 0, Palace 0. It's not very exciting.
I fancy Palace to win that one. I'll tell you that right now. I fancy Palace to win that one. I think Zaha, who's so talismanic for them.
Love him.
And I think Tottenham have got their eye on him as well, from what I understand.
I hope so, but we've had our eye on him for about 4 transfer windows, so I think Levy needs to say now, right, I'm paid enough money myself, let's give some of this money to Zaha and let's get him into the ground.
We are rocking and rolling, 13 minutes gone here on the Voice of Sport Show with me, Rodney Hines, each and every Saturday. It's the Voice of Sport Show for a very good reason. I work at the Voice newspaper. If you want to get in contact with what we do, it's all the W's, voice-online.co.uk. We're out every Thursday, and of course we have an app as well. We are rattling through the show. We are now going to focus on Arsenal a little bit more, and we're also going to take an in-depth look to the first semi-final of the day, which kicks off in about an hour, as Manchester United play Tottenham in the first FA Cup semi-final at Wembley. Welcome back to the Voice of Sport Show, here with me, Rodney Hines, each and every Saturday between 4 and 6 here at ABN London's Afropolitan station. This is where we talk about sport from our perspective. We love doing that. I've been away for a couple of weeks. I've totally refreshed. I'll be here for another couple of weeks before I disappear again. But you're in good hands. Michael Kitchener and Anne-Marie Batson in the house. And I want to give a big shout out to my original producer, Kente Kufor, wherever he is. He said he'd be listening today. And we're going to get him back for a guest appearance or 2 on this show and during our World Cup specials as well. The big man himself. Special K, I call him. Thank you very much. Talking about special, Arsene Wenger has jumped, in my opinion, before he's been pushed. It's taken over all the news outlets over the last 24 hours or so, and that is the case. Just to give us a little perspective on Arsene Wenger's reign, I have found my old mate Tony in Hackney, who's been on this show before, season ticket holder, very disgruntled in the last 10 years, has his view on Arsene Wenger. Let's catch up with Tony just to see what he's got to say about Mr. Wenger departing Arsenal. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, Rodney. You seem to have identified me very well indeed. Because I agree totally on you. I think it was a kind of Godfather offer. Yeah. I think as you alluded to earlier, what happened is that they told him, Arsene, you can either go under your own steam or you're going to be pushed.
Tone,
I think you're absolutely right.
Yeah, I mean, Tone, listen, let's get this right. I mean, he's been there 22 years, and it's almost bittersweet 50-50 in my opinion. First 10 years, absolutely brilliant. And let's talk about those years first, Tone. I mean, you have paid your money.
Rightly.
You've paid your money over the years, and you've seen some wonderful football at Highbury and at Emirates. What tribute would you like to pay to Arsene Wenger?
Oh, the style of football and the change. We went from a pretty average side to a side that could, that could gallop with style, that could play, that could tackle, that could play any game you wanted to, fight. We could have skill, we had speed. He did change the game. I mean, initially it was Arsene who when he arrived, but the players we played and the style and the technique we played says it all. Even Alex Ferguson's best players said that they changed completely whenever they played Arsenal.
Absolutely.
You were there many a game, Rodney, and you know that was the case.
Absolutely, and it was great to see Alex Ferguson and Jose Mourinho. It sounded like through gritted teeth yesterday. At least paying tribute to Arsene Wenger in the right way.
They did indeed. All of the great Klopp, Guardiola, all of the great managers, and quite rightly so. He changed the nature of English football from being an up and at 'em lads and let's kind of like rah 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 to tackling, to skill, to speed. And the only sad thing is that we never won the European trophy that we should have won at a time with our best side. That was the only problem that he had.
Yeah, you're talking about 2006 there, Tone, against Barcelona. But the last 10 years, though, Tone, I know they've been punctuated very late on with 3 FA Cup wins in the last few years or so, but he almost went totally the opposite way to those glorious decade of before, didn't he? In terms of the size of the players, the physicality. Sometimes I watch Arsenal, Tone, and I don't know what the plan is.
Well, I agree with you once again, and I hate to say this, I wish I could disagree. I agree with you, but that was the influence of the Spanish side. The Spanish side had a lot of small, nimble players, hence Santi Cazorla, who Arsenal miss immensely.
Absolutely right.
And he's an underrated, great player, which in years to come we're going to see how great he was. And, he changed. He thought the next move would be smaller, more adaptable players, and it never really happened. We went from the less physicality team to just smaller, and he never really quite got it. Like, me, I'm a defender. He never kind of got the defensive element of the side as well, the defensive midfield player, or the ugly centre half does the ugly thing.
Yeah. And Tone, listen, we're rattling through on a very packed show. You talked about the physicality. One of the bugbears for me and you and lots of Arsenal supporters, the mentality as well of the last 10 years or so has been very, very poor. Newcastle have beaten Arsenal. Brighton, Swansea, Bournemouth. Those are not the sort of teams, with all due respect, that were beating Arsenal years ago when they had mentally tough players.
I agree. My girlfriend Celine was just, when she saw we were losing to Bournemouth, to Brighton, she was going, Arsenal are losing to Brighton? Yeah. She was shocked at the moment. It's just we just haven't had the physicality. We're going to have to, if you believe what Gazidis has said, and I'm not a great trust of Gazidis, he's changed the backroom, the structure of the side. If we're going to go through it, we've got to have a chance of, and if he's going to be bold, he must do something like Patrick Vieira.
Is that your choice? Would that be your choice?
Well, initially it was Ancelotti, but then again, if we're going to go to the next bold step, let's give Patrick a 3-year contract and a time to go, because the fans will get behind.
He knows the club. He's got the values of the club. Yep. He knows the club. He knows the values. Yep.
I mean, people like me will not complain who the next manager is for the next year. It's either Patrick or Allegri. Now, I'll tell you something. If he's got some strength of character, Thierry Henry would volunteer then to be a coach of Arsenal. I don't think Thierry's ready.
There's a big shout.
He hasn't done any management.
Tone, there's a big shout for this boy, Luis Enrique, formerly at Barcelona. Would you take him?
He's got pedigree. Former Barcelona man, he's had a time off. I'm not sure whether he speaks English. A lot of push has come for Brendan Rodgers at the moment, and a lot of push has come from, has come from Tuchel. But I think Tuchel is going to go to PSG.
Tone, I know over the last few years you've scratched your head a little bit about whether you should renew your season ticket. Will you do that this time round with a little bit more hope in your heart?
I will. I was considering not renewing the ticket, but for this time around, I will consider renewing my season ticket. No, I will renew my season ticket. I take it back. I will renew my season ticket because I want to see whoever the manager is, right? I want to support them because Arsenal's my team. They will always be my team. I want them to be my team, and I will back the manager whatever happens next season.
Tone, listen, many thanks. No doubt it'll all start rocking at the Emirates tomorrow when West Ham come to town. Thanks for your time.
I hope so. Thanks very much, Rodney.
Take care there.
Bye-bye.
There we had Tony, an Arsenal fan, season ticket holder, putting in the runners and riders of potential management replacements for Arsene Wenger. We'll be back on the other side. We're going to give you the team news for Man United versus Tottenham in the FA Cup semi-final. We're going to try and find our man, Ayodele, live and direct from Wembley Stadium.
ABN Radio.
London!
London's Afropolitan radio station.
Consider that life wasted. Consider the heart of the family ripped apart. Consider the potential never realised. Are these the things you consider when you carry a knife? It's not about street cred or respect. It's about staying alive. Drop that knife and save a life. Gwenton Slowly, supporting all family and young people.
What do you like for breakfast?
Well, it depends what mood I'm in. If I'm happy, I like a little bit of porridge with banana because I'm feeling healthy. If I'm in a...
Me, I like a bit of fruit. Nice apples, sliced apples.
I love a cinnamon and raisin bagel, some scrambled eggs, and a...
I say nice English bit.
Salad, fruit and orange.
I like wholemeal bagel with a bit of cream cheese on it and some bacon and then some avocado. And on the side, I like to have
fried egg with bacon, with baked beans, toast. I normally take my cocoa. Yeah, I'm a Ghanaian. I'm a typical Ghanaian, so I like my cocoa.
I'm not too sure. I normally don't eat breakfast.
It doesn't matter how you like your breakfast, or you may not like breakfast at all, but you will love the sound of your radio when the breakfast is Afropolitan. Watch out for the new ABN Radio Breakfast Show with Efuadum and Abeye Bonsu. ABN Radio, London's Afropolitan radio station. ABN Radio.
London!
London's Afropolitan radio station.
Welcome back to the Voice of Sports show, here with me, Rodney Hines, and Michael Kitchener, to be found here every Saturday at ABN HQ. This is London's Afropolitan station. It's the Voice of Sports show. If you want to listen to this show and the other shows on this wonderful station, it's ABN Radio UK.com, the TuneIn app as well. Download that to your phone or to your tablet. And as for The Voice, you can purchase The Voice every Thursday in the shops, and also you can download the app. And for all the breaking news, it's all the W's, voice-online.co.uk. Now, listen, big game at Wembley today. The sun is shining. It's a little bit cooler than it has been over the last few days, but I expect that temperature to go up because it's Man United versus Spurs in the first FA Cup semi-final. I'll be at the second one tomorrow. Our man at Wembley is a friend of ABN, a friend of The Voice, Ayo Odemade, live and direct from Wembley. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
How are you down there? It must be absolutely crackling down there in terms of the temperature. Is the atmosphere building?
Well, the atmosphere is building, and I've just sighted your colleague working here, and we're in opposite corners. I'm talking of Mr. Joe Campbell.
Ah.
So we're not standing
you
together.
See, I realised that it was Man United Tottenham, and I said I'm not going to get caught in the crossfire. I'll turn up on Sunday.
He's standing in his own corner over there. We just decided to
stay on. May the best team win. As an Arsenal fan, having won it 3 times out of the last 5 seasons, I know the pressure of today. So, have you got any team news for me, sir?
I haven't, unfortunately.
You haven't? Okay, I'll give you the team news then. Spurs will be warming goal. I've got Michael Kitchener, Tottenham fan, chewing his nails, producing my show.
Wow.
No Hugo Lloris. Michel Vormer's in goal. It's Trippier, Sanchez, Vertonghen, and Dyer. And Davis. Dyer and Dembele in midfield. Eriksen, Ali, and Son, and Kane up front. As for Man United, it's De Gea in goal. Valencia, Jones, Smalling, and Young across the back line. In the middle of the park, Matic and Herrera. The front 3 will be Pogba, Lingard, and Sanchez, and right at the top is Lukaku. How do you see the game going? Give me some of the pivotal players for today from your viewpoint, Ayo.
My most pivotal player today is Mr. Lingard. Lingard always scores when he comes in.
You're absolutely right. Yeah, he's won FA Cups for you before, hasn't he?
Yes, he has. He's got the winner.
Yeah. If you can get another 15-20% out of Alexis Sanchez, who knows how to win an FA Cup, knows how to score at Wembley, surely you've got more than an even chance.
Yes, we have. Forget he knows how to score at Wembley. He knows how to score against. He knows how to mess Spurs up.
Yeah, he certainly does. And of course, you need to be careful of a Mr. Kane, don't you?
Should I tell you something? I don't recall Kane scoring against Man United.
Okay, that could be the kiss of death. He might do that today, mightn't he?
If I mean, I could stand corrected. Your colleague in the studio can, go into his repertoire. I don't think Kane scored against us. He's not the one to worry. It's Eriksen. Eriksen's he's the one who pulls the strings.
Well, let's remember the last game at White Hart Lane where Kane did score that wonderful goal, little flick past David De Gea. But I don't know. I just get a feeling today, and I don't know about you. I think that it's going to be a tight game, and Rodney and I were talking about it. The battle, like you say, you mentioned Lingard there. It's in midfield, isn't it? Your Pogbas, your Dembélés. How do you think Pogba and Dembélé are going to cope with each other in the middle of midfield?
For all you care, they might not be in direct opposition. I think let's leave Pogba out of the equation because Pogba is not that disciplined to deal with holding the midfield. We're talking about the night watchman. You're talking of we need to talk about Matic in that role. He's the one with the Spider-Man legs. He's the one who'll be trying to stop Dembélé.
Up and down, up and down, up and down. What do you think about the Tottenham management dropping Hugo Lloris? He might be injured. I haven't heard anything. And replacing
No. Let me stop you there straight away. They've been playing Vaughan in all the FA Cup games.
Okay, but what do you think of that move? Because he is clearly a number 2 goalkeeper. In such a big game.
It's been tried and tested. David Ospina was the winning goal for Arsenal. Or is it Chesney as well when they were number 2?
Yeah, absolutely right.
I actually respect Pochettino for that because basically he said you've been my FA Cup goalkeeper from the start,
and I'm sticking with you.
And I'm sticking with you, and that's the very prudent thing to do.
And dare I ask you this? Who do you think's going to come out on top today?
I think it's a big pitch. I think there could be a little bit of stifling from Man United.
Oh, yeah. Wow. There you go. And maybe a little bus.
And I tell you what.
Yeah.
No, it's not even a little bus. If United take the lead, you may well see, one of the forwards going up and someone like Scott McTominay coming on.
Yeah.
Coming on to shut up shop.
And of course, I have to give my producer, Lord Kitchener, a response to that. Sir, how do you see it?
I fancy 1-1. I really do. And then maybe extra time, maybe penalties, and then it's a lottery from there.
Oh no! I don't want to go down that road.
Listen, guys.
No, I don't.
I'm just going to say, may the best team win. Are you at the semi-final tomorrow?
Yes, I am. We'll chew over the fat.
We'll chew over the fat. You may be in another cup final, and when Arsenal don't win cup finals, it seems like Man United seem to win them. So that's all I'm saying. I'm not saying anything. May the best team win. Io, thanks for your time. Enjoy the game. Take care.
Thank you.
Cheers. There's Io Adamade there, pumped up, ready and confident as ever in regards to the FA Cup semi-final. He's absolutely right. Michel Vorm has been in goal for Tottenham's FA Cup exploits. I just thought today Hugo Lloris, but that said,
I agree with you because I actually do think it's him dropping him because it's a big game. You have your big players for your big games. He's the Spurs captain, don't forget, Hugo Lloris. So for me, it's a very strange one.
That armband will go to Harry Kane today, I would imagine.
It will do, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely right. Well, listen, we have rattled by the first 30 minutes. I don't know where he's got. We've got exactly one football match left in terms of time. That's 90 minutes before we disappear. Michael is a bag of nerves. I can tell. I have done, listen, let me tell you something, Mike. I have done 3 sets of semi-finals, 3 finals in recent times, and I'll tell you what, it's difficult to enjoy it until you lift the trophy.
Well, Mr. Wenger's won 7 FA Cups, so he's not done bad, has he?
He goes back into the history books. I mean, listen, as a Tottenham fan, all jokes aside, what tribute would you like to pay to Arsene Wenger, who's been there since you've been supporting your football team?
It pains me to say this, but let's remember he won the league at White Hart Lane. That's a feat in itself, of course. But
with certain swagger as well.
Yeah, I think so. And that's that Invincibles team. I looked on from the other side of North London at this team, just in awe of what Arsenal had and the product that he's built. I think it's a shame it's gone the way it's gone. I think it's his own fault for not going a little bit earlier than he did.
Like 5-6 seasons back?
Yeah, I agree with that. But I tweeted yesterday, I just think Arsenal fans need to be very careful what they wish for. Let's see who comes in.
Right.
Let's see how they do.
That said, Mike, he has to move on. He's been there for 22 years. And what I saw on Sky yesterday was, as Tony said, Klopp, Guardiola, Conte, I didn't see Pochettino, funny enough, but that might come later on. All men in their 40s. Yeah, paying homage to this man who's nearly 70.
Yes.
And I think that's really the cameo as to why Arsenal have not really moved forward. I think they've been caught in a little bit of a time warp.
There are 19-year-olds on this planet, Rodney, who don't know another Arsenal manager.
Absolutely right. As I said, tomorrow, our own Crystal Davis is going to be at
She's
the Emirates.
definitely not 19.
Definitely not. She's going to be at the Emirates tomorrow as Arsenal entertain West Ham. The first game since the announcement. I expect it to be absolutely spectacular at Arsenal tomorrow. Watch this space. That's all I can say to that. Welcome back to the Voice of Sports show. Listen, if we're not playing all the tracks, it's because we've got so many people to talk to in another chock-a-block show. Right. Last Monday, the great and the good were at the Emirates. I tell you what, we were at the Emirates for the Raise Your Game Mentoring Conference. Well, let me just give you a little bit of backstory to that. Arsenal played host to something like 300... 400, if not more, young people who want to get into the game of football. There were mentors there to help them across media, medicine, coaching, administration. It was a fantastic day, and it was free as well.
Fantastic.
And to give us, and Michael, you were there as well, weren't you?
I was.
What was it like for you?
Do you know what? As a mentee,
you snuck in through the back door, didn't you?
I did somehow, yeah. I might know two people, and they got me in.
You're connected, you know Crystal Davis.
I have to say, for me, as somebody who's in the media profession, I was taken back by how fantastic it was. It was a great event, and as I tweeted Troy and Crystal, I thought it was a fantastic day.
Absolutely right.
Brilliant.
Crystal Davis is on the line, friend of ABN, friend of The Voice, and incidentally, the Raise Your Game coordinator and Arsenal fan. Now, that's a title. Good afternoon to you, Crystal.
Good afternoon, Rodney and Michael.
How you doing?
I'm good. Apologies if my background's a little bit noisy. I've tried to find a quiet...
No worries. It just adds to the authenticity of the whole thing. First of all, I'm going to say congratulations to you and your team for the Raise Your Game conference at Emirates last week.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I mean, listen, was it a success? It looked like a success from where I was, and the mentees seemed to be happy.
It felt like a success. It's my biggest Raise Your Game conference so far, and we had over 300 plus mentees on the day.
Okay.
It's my first time going to the Emirates for a Raise Your Game conference. I had the likes of Henry Winter, Alistair Bennett from the Premier League saying that that's the best Raise Your Game conference they've been to so far. So if they say it is, then I'll take their word for it.
Yeah, take their word for it. And, you know, what sort of feedback were you getting from the mentees, the people that are younger than me and Michael, and want to be... And they want to be in the world of football. What sort of vibes and feedback was you getting from them?
I was getting the sense that they felt like it was a very necessary conference. I'm sure maybe if we look 10 years back, football didn't have a platform like Raise Your Game, whereas now we do. I think they're, having the opportunity to sit down and do one-to-one discussion with yourself and the likes of Henry Winter, I think is of great value to their career.
Yeah, absolutely right. So, I mean, I would imagine that the Raise Your Game is going to get bigger and bigger, Crystal, which means a bit more work for you, I would imagine.
It will, but it's worth it. I mean, this one, like I said, is the biggest Raise Your Game conference that I've put on, and it was a pain, I won't lie, but at the end, it felt very rewarding, just by looking at the mentees and, looking at all their faces, smiling, they looked happy, so I was pleased with the end result.
Crystal, obviously I was there as a mentee and I had a great time. Just explain to our listeners, if they're not aware, what's Raise Your Game trying to achieve in the conference that it held on Monday?
Well, Raise Your Game, for those who don't know, Raise Your Game is a scheme that's set up through Kick It Out, supported by the Premier League, and our aim is to provide a unique platform for those wanting to break into the football industry. I'm sure we could pick up on what Henry Winter said. He said that when he comes to conferences like Raise Your Game and he sits down with his mentees, he tends to keep in touch with at least 3 or 4, 5 of his mentees, and to have someone as Henry Winter as your mentor, who knows? You don't know where that could take you.
Absolutely right, Crystal. As I said it right at the start of this little segment, well done to you and your team.
Yeah, fantastic.
The event seems to get better and better every year, and I'm obviously delighted and privileged to be part of it, and I know Michael feels the same as well.
I do indeed. Thanks, Crystal.
Thank you, guys.
Keep up the good work, Crystal. Take care.
I will.
Cheers.
Have a nice day.
And you
too. Bye-bye.
Yep. There was Crystal Davis on the line talking to us here live and direct on ABN London's Afropolitan station. This is the Voice of Sport show about Raise Your Game conference, where young people, both genders, black, white, no matter what their background is, can try and get involved in the world of football. As I said, this is the Voice of Sport show. This is ABN London's Afropolitan station. How can you listen to ABN? Well, it's all the W's, abnradiouk.com. You can also download the tuning app to your phone and also your tablets. The Voice of Sport show for good reason. I work for the Voice newspaper. It's our 35th anniversary this year. Absolutely fantastic. I haven't been there for all 35 of those years, by the way. We're out every Thursdays on the newsstands. You can download the app as well. And of course, for all the breaking news, it's all the W's, voice-online.co.uk to find out exactly what is happening. So we're talking about Raise Your Game. And we're going to continue to do that for a few more minutes because there was a young lady that Michael spotted who was getting right involved with the whole scenario at Raise Your Game.
Yeah.
And that was a great thing about it. Young people come in with their goals, dreams, their list of mentors that they want to talk to, Mike.
It was, and we had a good chat, and she's now on national radio with us.
We're now talking to Faduma, who was there at the Emirates Stadium. Faduma, good afternoon to you.
Hi, guys. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. How you doing?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Enjoying the sunshine?
Yeah, it's been really good.
Oh, absolutely fantastic. We're just racing through another action-packed show, but you were there, weren't you, on Monday? What was it like for you getting involved and participating in the Raise Your Game conference?
I found it so beneficial. It was such a good experience just to come in and see so many other young people. There was about 300 people there and mentors from all kind of areas within football, so from media to coaching to management. It was such a nice event, and the variation between like the different workshops you can do.
Yes.
I found that quite useful.
Did you attend any of the workshops yourself?
Yeah, I did. I went to the BBC Sport Media Workshop.
Good.
Earlier in the morning,
yes,
which was quite helpful because we had mentors that were talking about their journey into BBC Sport, into broadcasting, and it gave us the kind of opportunity to ask any questions that we had in terms of and explain like our situation. So I explained that I started a bit of journalism and would like to move into broadcasting, and they were really helpful in giving us tips and advice. And then during the afternoon, I moved on into the one-to-one mentoring session where I just kind of walked around and tried to speak to every mentor I could find.
Yes.
And tell me, it was your first event, as it was mine as well. Were you taken back by the big names that were there? And obviously we saw the panel in the morning hosted by Bianca Westwood and Sam Johnson. It really was kind of a bit of a breathtaking event, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was absolutely amazing. Like, there was and Rachel Yankee and Alex Scott were there as well, and just listening to their story as athletes firstly, and then how they moved into sports, especially with them being women, and just listening to the different to the struggle that they went through in terms of having to try and prove their point a little bit was actually quite inspiring. But yeah, there was loads of big people there as well. So it's really nice to see people, obviously, who are on their journey, who have become very successful, are coming back to help young people like myself who are really interested.
Yeah, absolutely right. Happy to do so. And what is it that you'd really like to do within football, if you got the chance? What's your dream job if you could get involved in football?
I'm a huge Man United fan. I just heard you.
Man United, did you say?
Yes.
Oh,
I just heard
dear.
you guys talking all things Arsenal for a minute. So I would love to do anything in regards to broadcasting, presenting sports.
Okay, fantastic. So listen, I know a couple of people that have been to 2 Raise Your games and have eventually the pennies dropped for them. So if this was your first one, I suggest that you sign up for the second one and see if you can use that information that you got on Monday, take it to another level, and then maybe you might be working at Old Trafford one day.
Yeah, you never know.
Listen, fantastic to meet you on Monday. Fantastic to speak to you today. I'm sure we'll be in touch. Keep up the good work.
No worries, thank you.
Take care.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thanks.
No worries. A fantastic event. Raise Your Game. We're going to take a couple of minutes out to take in some adverts, and then we're going to talk about the big event tomorrow. No, I'm not talking about the second semi-final. No, I'm not talking about Arsenal versus West Ham. I'm talking about the London Marathon. See you very soon.
We are online, DAB, and the ABN Radio app. Wondering where we are off to? Well, from the 1st of May 2018, ABN TV will be moving from Sky Channel 235 to Sky Channel 195. ABN TV is still available on Virgin TV Channel 842. ABN TV, your favorite black broadcaster.
One of the main reasons I carried the knife was I didn't want to feel weak. One time, a car pulled up and the guys jumped me. After that, I just wanted revenge. One evening outside the guy's house, I was just sat there thinking, do I do this? I have to be prepared to do life. I took another path, and that led me into mixed martial arts. It's really helped me overcome self-doubt. I'm knife free since 2015. Visit knifefree.co.uk.
The Discourse on ABN Radio, engaging our community with discerning conversation.
Join me, Esther Alade, on The Discourse, where we will be redefining perspectives with authentic analysis.
Join The Discourse from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. on ABN Radio. This Friday and every Friday on ABN Radio, London's Afropolitan radio station. Tune in to the new ABN Breakfast Show from 7 a.m. to 11 a.m. The London City Show has evolved into an all-new breakfast show with sizzling slices of juicy newsy current affairs served with junior jumbo-sized convos on issues you should be aware of. What did I just say? The ABN Breakfast Show, the Afropolitan breakfast you can't afford to miss. ABN Radio.
London!
London's Afropolitan radio station.
Welcome back to the Voice of Sport Show. We're having so much fun in here. Trust me, this is where we talk about sport from our perspective. We're here every Saturday. Yes, I've been away for a couple of weeks, but I'm here for another 3 weeks at least. This is ABN, London's Afropolitan station. We've talked an awful lot about football. We've talked about Arsenal, Arsene Wenger jumping before he was pushed. Yeah. We would agree, Michael, definitely, who's in the studio with me.
100%.
Talked about the Raise Your Game conference. We're going to also preview the Liverpool versus Roma Champions League semi-final that takes place on Tuesday. But it would be remiss of me not to give a massive shout out and some time on this show to all of those participating in the London Marathon. And I've got a young man on the line, DJ Disciple, who's taking part in the London Marathon tomorrow, 26.2 miles. I hope that the temperatures dip ever so slightly for all of those that take part. It's a fantastic event. Charities benefit, money is raised, absolutely fantastic. Let's have a quick word with DJ Disciple to find out how is it all going from. Hello, sir. How you doing?
Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
How you doing? Enjoying the sunshine?
Yeah, it's been really, really nice out there today.
Probably enjoy it even more so tomorrow morning with your kit on.
I don't know about that.
You don't know. So, DJ, let me find out. Is this your first marathon?
It's my first one, yeah.
Yeah. What made you decide to do it?
Wow.
Because there's a lot of grief gone into this, I would imagine, in terms of the training and the diet, etc., etc. But it is for a good cause. Tell me, what made you decide to run in the London Marathon?
Well, a friend of mine, close to me, passed away a couple of years ago.
Okay.
And he had contracted the condition.
Now, the condition is
prostate. Yeah,
prostate cancer. You're running for Prostate Cancer UK, aren't you? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So he got that, and we were kind of blown away. We were really surprised.
Yes.
We kind of heard, you sort of hear about it, but when it comes to your own doorstep,
absolutely right.
You don't really take it into consideration. And I just thought, what we need to try and raise the awareness more so because, I mean, the national average is 1 in 8.
Yes.
So 1 in 8 men during their lifetime will contract the illness.
Yes.
But in the Afro-Caribbean community, it's 1 in 4.
Yes, I've heard those figures. Those are quite startling, aren't they?
Which is mind-boggling, to be honest. And I've sort of found out in my own experience, not a lot of people know about it.
Yes, you're absolutely right.
And so we're trying to raise awareness about it. I'm going to be running in a 4-man team. I mean, I think there's a load of prostate cancer participants running tomorrow.
Yeah.
But we'll be highlighting a 1 in 4. So we've got a specialist or a team of 4 black runners, which includes Trevor Phillips and
Trevor Phillips. Yeah, I mean, we covered the story in The Voice this week. So you got Trevor Phillips running. You've got Chris Powell, the Southend manager, the Charlton legend, running as well. And who's your last person?
Thomas Kagazi.
Okay.
Who actually contracted the condition as well.
Yeah. So what's that? Roughly about how many miles each is that then?
Each.
But
what do you mean?
You running all together? You doing?
Yeah. No, we're all gonna from beginning to end.
Beginning to end. Okay, fantastic. So that is absolutely fantastic. If people want to support the cause, DJ, how can they contribute to helping you guys raise funds? Is there a website address or an online address?
Yeah, you can go to my Just Giving page, which is, if you just go to Just Giving and type in DJ Disciple.
Yeah.
You can go there because I still need to raise lots more.
Okay.
You can go to Prostate Cancer UK.org.
Okay.
You can get loads of information on there as well.
Fantastic.
And look out for us on the BBC tomorrow at some point.
Definitely going to be looking out for that. So in terms of the training regime, when did you start and how did you build up to be prepared for the 26 miles?
So
I had to ask this one.
So I started probably seriously in the new year.
Okay.
So roughly they say, you need about 16 weeks.
Right.
So I've probably done about 10, 12 of that. I think we had a couple of weekends where the weather, the snow,
interrupted things. Yeah.
Because when you start training, you need to be doing long runs.
Yes.
And so weekdays are not ideal. So you've got to kind of gear it towards a weekend.
Yeah.
So I did that. So beginning of Jan, all the way up till 3 weeks ago, I think.
Right. So, I mean, are you a runner previously to taking up the training for this event? Is running your thing?
I used to run when I was at school.
Okay.
Many years ago, and I just, part of it was getting fit.
Yes, I was going to say, yeah.
Part of it is really kind of trying to see where you can, sort of increase your wellness and your health just generally. When someone next to you kind of passes, you're like, well, you know what? we need to just maybe take care of ourselves a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you said, the key word is awareness, isn't it?
Absolutely.
You know, men, you've got to go for your checks. I mean, you know, you've got to go for your checks. It doesn't mean there's a problem if you go for your check, but even if there is a problem, it can get dealt with sooner rather than later, isn't it, DJ?
Absolutely, and that's the message that we're trying to spread.
Yeah.
That you know, if something's wrong, then you need to go and get checked out, because men are the worst for going to doctors.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially black men.
Especially black men. I'm glad you said it.
No worries. And now, in terms of your diet, you've obviously had to tweak that as well, haven't you, I suppose?
I have. And I've been eating lots of bananas.
Okay, good for energy, protein, good stuff. Yeah. Carbs, potatoes.
Yeah, potatoes, rice, pasta.
Yeah.
Lots of that. Lots of salads, just greens.
Okay.
Because they give you, you know, the nutrients that those blood cells are going to need.
Yes, of course.
When you're going round. So, and lots of water.
Yeah.
I'm partial to the odd cake.
So am I. And I'm asking you these questions because you know what? I would love to take up the challenge next year. So I'm just trying to get into your head as to what might need to be done next year.
No, you've said that. I'm going to hold you to
that. Do you know what I mean? Yeah,
you've said that on air.
It's something I've looked at over the years. So you're partial. I should do, shouldn't I? I'm going to look at it very, very seriously. So, fantastic. Really, really, really proud of what you guys are doing, and in fact, what all the marathon runners are doing tomorrow. What's the temperature like at the moment? Is that good for you for tomorrow, do you think, if it stays the same?
Well, the funny thing is, all the training's been done in sort of, 7-8 degrees.
Oh, right.
Max.
Wow.
So now that it's sort of more than doubled,
yes,
it's going to be interesting.
Yes.
I don't mind being a man of colour. I don't mind the heat, to be honest.
Yeah.
I'd rather it be kind of warm than cold and
absolutely
rainy.
Right, yeah.
But after sort of 17, 18 miles,
yeah,
we'll see.
Yeah, definitely, man. Definitely. Take on lots of water. Take on lots of water.
Yeah.
So, have you set yourself a time for completion?
I have.
Not that you have?
Yeah.
What are you looking at? Can you share that?
It's called finish.
I love it. That's all that matters, really, isn't it?
Absolutely.
That's all that matters.
Absolutely. I think people, the organisers have been sort of saying, look, forget about timing, just because it's going to be a warm day, just look after yourselves. And
that's all that matters.
I think if you're doing it for the first time, you've got no idea what to expect.
Yeah, a trip into the unknown a bit, isn't it?
Absolutely. And so it will just be steady pace, and let's try and get to the
do what you need to do.
I will be over the moon if I get to the finish line.
Yeah, definitely. I will definitely want to know how you guys get on. Best of luck for tomorrow. Give out those details again in terms of how people can contribute.
Okay, so if you want to help out and help us raise more money, I've got a Just Giving page. Just type in DJ Disciple, and my mug shot will come up. And if you can just help support, just help, raise more money, or you can go to prostatecanceruk.org.
DJ Disciple, I want to thank you for your time. Best of luck for you and the team tomorrow. And listen,
I'll be waiting for you next.
Yeah, I know you will be. I'll put it out in the public domain now. Let's see what we can do. Okay.
Absolutely.
Thanks for your time, DJ.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Cheers. There you have DJ Disciple. Mike, I take it you normally join me in the challenges.
I've got a headache
on this one.
No, I've been concentrating so much on what's going on around the country in the football, scribbling down notes and stuff like that.
Taking place? What's happening?
There is. Watford have drawn 0-0 with Palace. Let's get that out of the way, put it in the cupboard and never speak of it again.
Let's in fact forget match of the day.
It's awful. 8 yellow cards. Palace hit the woodwork twice. Zaha was booked for diving. I haven't seen it yet, whether it was a penalty or not, so it'll be interesting. The Championship is where I'm looking at. It's currently Sunderland 1, Burton 1, which won't relegate either of those two teams, but Sunderland would need 6 points from their last 2 games. Their last 2 games are Fulham away, Wolves at home. So good luck Sunderland staying in the Championship. Championship.
Good luck with that, yeah.
Also in the Championship, Bristol City are playing Hull this afternoon. You might think, why is he bringing that game up? It was 4-2 to Bristol City a little while ago. It's now 5-4 to Hull.
Wow.
So 9-goal thriller in that
Cup
one.
Run has cost Bristol City, I think.
I couldn't agree more.
That League Cup run has cost them.
Chesterfield have been relegated to the National League, so they've fallen out of the Football League. That's quite an old club. I remember them playing Middlesbrough at Old Trafford in the FA Cup semi-finals.
Absolutely right.
And finally, Wigan and Luton have both been promoted to the Championship next season.
Fantastic.
And sorry, Wolves are the champions. They've beaten Bolton 4-0.
Wolves are the champions. West Brom look like they're going to go the other way. I mean, we're just talking to DJ Disciple.
Yes.
You've got to take your hats off to all those marathon runners.
Yeah, and I hope it's not too hot for them tomorrow, because that will cause a problem. I think some of them wanted a light shower, which hopefully maybe that will come during the day.
There's some showers tonight, I think. There's some thunderstorms which will clear the air, might make it a little bit cooler.
I think so. I think that would be nice for them. If they're running in 30-degree heat, Rodney, that's not great for anyone, is it?
You certainly don't want the temperatures that we had, say, on Friday or even yesterday. You know, I just think that's too hot.
We moan when it's too cold, we moan when it's too hot.
Yeah, we do. But for the marathon runners, we just don't want anybody being unable to get round. This is the Voice of Sports show here on ABN, London's Afropolitan station, with me, Rodney Hines. Joined in the studio, as always, by Michael Kitchener, my buddy for the 2 hours of this show, and my producer as well. Tottenham fan, he's getting nervous.
I am. There's 15 minutes to go.
Before the first FA Cup semi-final. No. The big semi-final, in my opinion. Man United have played Tottenham at 5:15 with a kick-off there. Oh, I don't know.
Don't forget, we've lost our last 10 semi-final appearances.
You have, but then again, we were both at Wembley when in the league you hammered
10 seconds it took us to score.
Man United during a cold Wednesday, I think it was.
It was. I'll tell you exactly when it was. It was Wednesday the 31st of January, Rodney. There you go.
That, my brother?
I don't know. It just sticks in my mind.
This man is a little bit of a stato. Well, on the other side, we're going to have some netball for you. We're going to talk about Commonwealth sport.
Look forward to that.
Well, we're going to keep up to date with what's happening in the world of football.
Yep.
And we're also going to preview Liverpool versus Roma Champions League semi-final coming up on Tuesday. Don't go anywhere. Be back very, very soon.
ABN Radio, London's Afropolitan radio station. More news, more information. This is ABN News on the Hour.
From the Sky News Centre at 5, Carwyn Jones is standing down as the Welsh First Minister in the autumn. The 51-year-old made the announcement at the Welsh Labour conference in Llandudno, months after referring himself to an independent inquiry. Our chief political correspondent John Craig says it follows allegations of bullying at the Welsh Government following the death of Assembly member Carl Sargent.
Mr Jones sacked him amid a row over allegations against Mr Sargent of improper sexual conduct. A few days later, he was found dead at his home in North Wales. There was an inquiry, he was cleared. Now there's a row about Mr Jones refusing to publish it.
A 3-year-old boy has drowned after an accident at a swimming pool at David Lloyd Sports Centre in Leeds. Police are trying to make contact with people who were at the pool at the time to determine what happened. A young man has been knifed to death in North London, bringing the number of violent deaths in the capital up to 58. The 20-year-old was found near Finsbury Park early this morning. A second man found stabbed nearby has been arrested. The UK government says North Korea's plan to stop its nuclear and long-range missile tests is a positive step, and it hopes it's a sign of good faith. The decision's been made ahead of planned talks between the country's leader Kim Jong-un and the US president. In sport, Manchester United boss Jose Mourinho's downplayed the impact Wembley will have on their FA Cup semi-final, which kicks off in around 15 minutes. They face Tottenham, who've used it as their home ground this season.
I look at these Tottenham, Manchester United the same way I looked at Huddersfield, Manchester United, or Manchester United, Brighton. Sometimes he's at home, sometimes he's away. This time he's away. I don't see any advantage. It's the same as play Old Trafford.
In the Premier League, bottom club West Brom drew 2-2 against Liverpool. And Celtic's wait for a 7th straight Scottish Premiership title continues after losing 2-1 at Hibernian. They'd have been crowned champions by winning. That's the latest. I'm Laura Safe.
ABN Radio.